Hello again, and welcome to the Comics Online Podcast, Season 15, Episode 35, Part 1. Part 1 is Troy David's thing. I'm your also host, Kevin Gaussoin, of course. Troy David Phillips here at Flashback Comics and Games. Troy does the top 5, and we talk about comics in Part 1. So if comics are not quite your thing yet, well, you should still watch this part. But if you're, if skip to Part 2 if you're like, no, I hate comics, I only love TV, then skip to Part 2.
Although you have to ask yourself, if you hate comics, why are you watching ComicsOnline.com podcast?
It's not all that likely. There could be one person.
Maybe they're what are you punishing yourself for something?
Don't punish yourself.
Did
Just
you
watch
do
this.
something in another life? Yeah, don't punish yourself. Watch this and have some fun as we're having some fun.
Hey, Troy, you know where people can have fun this weekend here in the Metro Washington, D.C. area?
Ballroom?
Okay, but also I was thinking of Awesome Con DC. We're going to go, Comics Online is going to be there at Awesome Con DC, and we're going to be there teaming up, partnering. We're going to do, something like a team up. We're heroes, most of us.
Yeah. So this is like Marvel Team Up?
It's like Marvel Team Up, and we're going to team up with...
so Spider-Man will be there?
In the form of Ulysses Campbell.
Oh, okay.
And we're gonna team up with his folks over at the Fantastic Forum, and we're gonna do all sorts of fun stuff.
What? Ben Grimm, Reed Richards, Johnny Storm?
We can hope.
Wow,
that's what I'm hoping for.
Wait, did you say Fantastic Four or
Fantastic Four? The Fantastic Forum.
Oh.
Right. Not to be confused with that bulletin board that you can talk about Art Bell stuff. That's actually a thing. I didn't realize that until today. I learned something. Art Bell, Coast to Coast AM. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, but Kevin learned
something. They talk about UFOs.
Kevin learns something new every day. He has learned not to take a Phillips head screwdriver and jam it into an electrical socket. True story.
That wasn't today, though.
Yesterday?
It wasn't recently. But we're going to be there, and I'm going to go and moderate a couple of panels. Yuli is going to be moderating several panels, but I'm going to be moderating two. One on Saturday at 5:30, I believe. It's going to be Box Brown. He's a cartoonist that you might know, Box Brown. He did a graphic novel all about Andre the Giant. So check that out and join us Saturday, this coming Saturday, May 30th. And then May 31st at noon, I'm going to be in the big ballroom. I'm going to be moderating a panel, and it's going to be all about Power Rangers. We're going to have three of the four. Three? Anyway, very original-ish Power Rangers. They are Mighty Morphing rather than other adjectives. Rather than Turbo and
Dino, Ninja,
all of that other stuff.
Space.
We're talking, we're talking original blue, original black, second gen yellow and red. Yeah,
original red.
Austin St. John. He's not the
original red. Yes, he is.
Oh, I'm a jerk. See, I have to study up. I haven't completely finished my intro stuff yet. Yeah, Austin St. John is going to be there. The original blue guy is going to be there.
David Yost. And
the original Black Ranger. Who's the original Mastodon?
That was Zach. What was Zach's name?
Come on.
Oh, it's right on the tip of my tongue. I watched these episodes. I watched the shows. I loved them. I still do, actually. If I can find them, I sit and I watch them.
Middle initial is E.
Okay.
Anyhow, we're going to be there, and also Karen Ashley, the second and third season Yellow Ranger will be there as well. She's awesome. We've interviewed her before. In fact, Comics Online has interviewed all of these guys before, except for that first season Blue Ranger.
Walter Johnson?
Walter, you got Walter.
Yeah, okay, it's right there. I just can't.
Walter E. Yeah, something. I'm forgetting too. I don't know why. I met him in person. I feel like I'm a
Yeah.
terrible.
They're going to spin kick you in the face.
They are going to. Oh, and I have a special thing. I may be dressed up. If it comes in time, I may be dressed up. So you have that to look forward to.
Oh, I'm terrified.
Yeah. I wish Troy were going to be there, but Troy's going to be here. If you're like, I don't have time for Awesome Con, I'm sorry. First of all, I'm sorry. And second of all, you know where you can be? Right here in Troy's store, because Troy will be here helping you out with your comic books on the whole weekend.
Well,
one can assume.
One can assume. So, you ready to show these people some top 5 picks?
Yeah. Are we going to talk about anything other than our top 5 picks? Is there something you want to bring up comic-wise that we can talk about?
Nothing immediately leaps to my mind, although certainly I'll be bringing up some stuff when we get to part 2.
Yeah.
Because I have done some back issue reading.
Nice.
And I love to go to the back of the boxes. I love to go through, and I've actually pulled out some things. I've earmarked some things for me to get caught up on. I like to refresh these details in my mind. People like to joke that I know everything about comics. I have this encyclopedic knowledge, et cetera, et cetera. That comes from reading these things. And in many cases, it comes from rereading them and rereading them. Familiarizing myself, reading books about comics. It doesn't come easily for me. I have to apply myself just like anybody else would. And I have fun doing it. It's a great deal of fun. But I take my fun very seriously. And this is why my comic collection has gotten to where it has gotten, which... one day I'm going to get to where Kevin is, but for right now, it's 102 long boxes.
That is farther than I am. When I combined mine and squished them down to maximum density for travel, I no longer had, what was it, 70 or whatever wherever I was at, but I had I think less than 60.
Wow.
When they were, very compact. And most people are not going to keep them that compact. It's just for travel.
Yeah. Certainly not me. I don't like to jam them too tightly. I like to give them some room to breathe, some room to move.
Sure.
So they're not developing spine roll or staple crunch or anything else they could possibly develop.
Right.
I baby my comics.
As you should.
Yes.
And if you have any questions about proper upkeep, or if you need supplies, Troy's your man. He'll help you out.
Yes, indeed. We carry a full range of supplies here at Flashback Comics. What I don't have in the store, we can order for you. So I get a full range of things. Polypropylene bags, Silver Age, current size, Golden Age, magazine sized. Mylars in both 2 mil and 4 mil thickness, Golden Age, Silver Age, modern. Backing boards, the acid-free treated boards. Top loaders, long boxes, short boxes. Storage shells that boxes fit into so that they could be stacked one on each other, making the storage and the retrieval of your comics much, much more pleasant than the old-fashioned stack, break down a stack of comics to get to the box on the bottom. Yeah, I can help you with this. A guy who has 102 boxes, believe me, I've gotten this down to science.
Yeah.
I'm going to help Kevin out here, too.
He definitely is. Well, I've got I use the drawer boxes for most of mine. I have regular long boxes as well, but I use the drawer boxes, and I found eventually that, those end boxes of your rows, because you can go 6 high, but then after that, you're going laterally. And the ones on the end, you want to secure them somehow. And I found out that if you just place a very thin piece of plywood, every other box or every 2 boxes, then they've got something to grip onto, and they're not going to fall over. So from me to you, that's my advice. That's the cheap way out.
Yeah, or you can go all the way to the corner, in which case the wall itself will help hold them.
Oh, certainly. Yeah, but that's when you're Troy, and you can hit both walls.
Unlike Kevin, I don't advocate stacking them 6 high. For me, that's a little bit too tall.
That's what drawer boxes.
The factory specs told me 5.
For the drawer box brand?
For the drawer box, yes.
Drawer box brand says 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I usually go 5. That's as tall as I
sometimes
4.
go 7.
Oh my goodness, that's ridiculous. I'm not tall enough to reach that top box.
Yeah.
I'm not. That's just not me.
But something that I did want to mention when we talking about supplies, and I kind of forgot all about this, but. With supplies, I had you here at Flashback. You use the Ultra Pro brand. That's your main brand that you get. And I had a couple of bags of bags that one had a couple of bags missing, and another one had some crinkled bags. And you're like, grr, what can I do to fix this because obviously these are like, pennies, but I'm mildly annoyed. I think I'll check out their website. I'm not going to come in here and bother Troy about it. I'll check out their website. Ultra Pro has amazing customer service. They sent me a full set of bags when I said, 10 of them were super wrinkled, and I explained it, and they were like, okay. Bag showed up in the mail, a whole 100-pack. I thought they were going to just send me the amount that I told them.
Nope.
Really nice. So not only do you get the premium quality archival stuff, but you've got kind of a guarantee behind it with that company as well. So good job on choosing that company because there are more than one to choose from.
Oh yeah. So getting into it this week, I'm going to kick things off.
Please.
I'm going to take advantage of both of your hands there since you're my capable assistant. I'm going to begin things, ladies and gentlemen, with Image Comics, They're Not Like Us. Now, if you've been following the series, then you know how good it is. You know all about these characters that were born with psychic abilities and hold themselves to a standard higher than everyone around them, how they have rules unto themselves, a disregard for normal human society. Something you might not know if you haven't checked this book out is the story begins literally on the inside front cover.
On the front cover, because you've got the first panel of each issue that is on the cover itself.
That is very true. And then, of course, the back cover gives you a quote that is relevant to the book. Find your truth, face your truth. There we are. It's a great book, actually. As I said, the story deals with a group of psychic characters and the drama that ensues between them as they explore their own moralities and explore the concepts of possessing powers that everyone around you does not necessarily possess. Each character has different abilities. They came to this group differently, and they have different feelings about the man, seemingly, that has organized them all together. For what purpose? Well, we don't know yet, but here is the 6th issue, so we're going to get a little farther into this. Now, like I said, it's literally wall-to-wall art and story. Kevin pointed out, yes, you do really start on the front cover. Inside front cover gets you rolling in full color. You get a nice little quote on the back. This is a great book for a cover price of $2.99. Image Comics, They're Not Like Us.
Check that out for sure. And if Troy can't help you out, I imagine now that 6 is out, I bet you'll have a trade soon.
Yes, we will. Before too much longer. Sticking with Image Comics under the Top Cow imprint. Now, this is Postal, latest issue of Postal, which I picked this issue up and immediately became engaged with the main character, a character who struggles with Asperger's syndrome. He is the mail carrier for this town. He is in a small town. His mother is the mayor, and everyone in this town has some kind of a dark secret. His dark secrets, Marc's dark secrets, are coming to the fore. He has met his father, and it has not gone well. I don't want to do too much revealing here, but the 4th issue just kicks us right along. There is some conspiracy, some blackmailing, some dark secrets. We're getting into Marc's psychology and his dreams, missing persons. There's a lot going on here. The book is very cerebral. It's very grounded. It's more realistic than something on a grander scale. It's definitely not your standard superhero fare. I like this book. Matt Hawkins is the author. I'm finding that I like this for some of the same reasons that I like Jason Aaron's Southern Bastards. It's a different kind of story, but again, predicated in that kind of realism. So different from the normal superhero fare that I read. Postal from Image under the Top Cow imprint. Matt Hawkins, superb writer. Love this guy's stuff. You should check this book out.
And so no superpowers in this book as yet, and we don't expect any.
Nope.
Right.
Unless Marc's Asperger's qualifies as a superpower.
Some people's is. All right, so you're going over to IDW.
Yes, now I'm going over to IDW, and let me say, Ragnarök. What do you need to know about this book? Why should you pick this book up? 2 words, Walter Simonson. All right. Drop the mic. We're done talking about this. I told you everything you need to know. Oh, wait, you need to know more? Okay, this book is Asgard after the final battle. It has dark elves. It has An important Norse mythology character. I don't want to ruin the ride if you have not read this yet, if you've thought about picking it up but haven't picked it up. This is the 5th issue of the Walter Simonson series, Ragnarök. You should definitely pick this up. Walt Simonson has lost nothing since his days doing Thor, since his days doing the New Gods for DC Comics. Walt Simonson is an amazingly talented artist and storyteller, and one heck of a nice guy who does have his fair share of amusing anecdotes to share if you can engage him in conversation. His wife Louise is also a very, very sweet, warm, and endearing person. I love the two of them together. I wish them much success professionally and as a couple.
I finally, speaking of Louise Simonson, I finally read the final issue of Fantastic Four, and there's Louise Simonson piece in the end. I was like, after reading that, I'm like, oh, Wheezy's here, and then my only minus to the whole thing was, but it's missing a John Byrne piece. I don't care if it's one page. He's got to be. Oh well, but at least we got a Simonson.
So yes, Ragnarök kicks us right along there. Walt Simonson borrowing from Norse mythology. Again, there's an important character in there. You will recognize him once you get to reading the story. I don't want to be the guy that gives you the spoilers, but it's great. Now, moving along here, Kevin, what are you holding up there? Thank you. Swords of Sorrow from Dynamite Entertainment. Swords of Sorrow is a very interesting piece. It's a crossover series from Dynamite Entertainment focusing on their female characters. You would have seen Vampirella and Jennifer Blood with the issue that came out last week. This week, we're getting Masquerade, also known in the past as Miss Mask, and the female version of Kato from the pages of the Green Hornet. Throughout this series, there are swords, and these swords have special significance. They are the Swords of Sorrow, and more will be revealed about them as we get past the first issues. There are several interlocked series here. They also feature Red Sonja, and Deja Thoris will be in the book. It's really, truly, you've got to pick this book up. You've got to get into it. If you like the female characters from the various Dynamite books, strenuously recommend this one for you. I love Ms. Mask from the Project Superpowers days, and I am a big fan of the female version of Kato from the Green Hornet. Truthfully, I'm a big fan of the Green Hornet from the time Dynamite picked this series up. I'm sorry that it's not ongoing still. I'm also a fan of the Green Hornet Legendary series, the steampunk reimagining of Green Hornet. Steampunk reimaginings for a lot of characters in Dynamite in that series. So the main Legendary series is done, but now we are doing the tie-on series, the Red Sonja, Green Hornet, etc. Anyway, ramping back a little bit. Swords of Sorrow, start picking these books up. If you've missed something, come back and tell me what you've missed, and let's track it down for you. Let's make sure that you get all the pieces of this so you can enjoy the whole thing.
So So Kieran Gillen's doing Über by Avatar. Does that mean he's going to take us for a ride?
He has been taking us for a ride. This book has been nothing but spectacular from the 0 issue. I've been on this book from the beginning. Couldn't be happier with it. Up right now is number 25, the War Crimes cover. I'll also be able to show you the wraparound cover, the icon cover, the propaganda cover, etc. I like to get the variants from these books by Avatar. God is Dead features them. Crossed Badlands features them. Über features them. And I love this World War II based series of stories about these super soldiers and how they change the world that they're in. Kieran Gillen started out giving us the war, and it was very recognizable, but he moved on. The characters within began to impact the world and take it away from history, such as we'd recognize it. Kieran Gillen said himself in the pages of his editorials that he was taking this book into places that made even he, the writer, uncomfortable, so he felt like he was doing a good job. The story series, the point of view here shifts to the Okinawan Islands, so we're back in the Pacific now. We've left Europe behind for a little bit. We had been in the Pacific earlier in the storyline. We're back in the Pacific to see what's going on there now. The super soldiers have been shared on both sides of the ocean, and this battle is seesawing back and forth. Truthfully, if I had to guess right now, I couldn't say who's going to win the war or what the settling of the world is going to be. But there are some very engaging main characters here. Some of them are still alive and with us. Some of them were very engaging in their lives and are dead, and new ones are coming to the fore.
Well, all right.
So, yes, Avatar, Über, Kieran Gillen, issue number 25, Swords of Sorrow, the one-shot, Masquerade and Kato, Ragnarök from IDW, Postal from Image Top Cow, and They're Not Like Us from Image. Eric Stephenson doing the story, Simon Gain doing the art. Now, Kevin's going to have some pieces for you, so I'm going to put my mic down and let Kevin have the use of both my hands.
Okay, so
Jazz hands.
We've got Neil Gaiman and Mr. Williams III doing Sandman Overture number 5. Now, this has been delayed, and Troy told me earlier that Neil Gaiman was on his Twitter recently saying, hey, it's not the artist, it's me. Which is surprising, being as though he is so prolific. I mean, he has, in the past been able to write multiple things at once, and it's surprising that he's falling behind on something like this. However, it has been fantastic so far. I was going to read it earlier before we started up today, but then I realized this is not a book that I can read and be at all interrupted. It is very cerebral, and frankly, it's been a couple of months since number 4 came out, and so I'm thinking I might need to go back and read those first few issues.
Oh, yeah. I definitely need to.
Yeah.
For those of you who might be in the minority who aren't familiar with Neil Gaiman's Sandman, the character Morpheus, the Lord of Dreams, one of the 7 Endless, Neil Gaiman wrote this series of Sandman, and it was enormously intelligent. Honestly, for my money, it is one of the finest comics written ever.
A 75-issue masterpiece that did spin off into various other ongoing series and miniseries. However, that 75 issues is some of the best comics you can possibly read, in my opinion.
I mean, and we explore we explore themes in religion and in mythology, in human morality, all sorts of literary references. It's fantastic. The relationships between the characters, both the fantastic characters of the Endless World, as well as the relationships with the very human characters and their relationships with other human characters. Birth, death, rebirth, heaven and hell, and the war in between. Oh, Season of Mists is still my favorite story arc.
So good.
So very good. But Sandman Overture, it picks up the first issue and takes us on a little bit of a ride, kind of refamiliarizing yourself. J.H. Williams handling the art, and fantastically so. So Sandman Overture. You know what, Kev?
Yes.
If, and I know you haven't, but if you had missed any issues,
no.
I have all 4 issues plus this one.
Come in here.
I can hook you up.
If you were a Sandman fan at all, if you're a 90s Vertigo fan at all, and this is something you've missed so far, come in here and get these, and you will be happy with yourself.
If you've not tried them before, the first issue is actually not a bad place to pick up. You can get the least you need to know and move on with that.
It's true.
It is suggested for mature readers. It is a DC Vertigo book, so it is not for younger readers. Not that it's particularly gratuitous, but it is definitely written at a higher reading bracket.
Very high reading bracket, and there might be some mild nudity of aliens.
Yes, there will be mature themes, but so bring your maturity.
Definitely.
What's next on your hit parade, Kev?
Next on my hit parade, as I've told Troy several times before, one of the books that when I was collecting nothing else, Robert Kirkman's 2 books, The Walking Dead, of course, which is always one of my picks, and Invincible were the 2 that I caught up on. And I just admitted before we started here today that I am not up to date on Invincible. There's a lot.
For shame.
I know. Sorry, Robert Kirkman. I know you watched this show. But I'm going to catch up soon. You know what? I'm just going to say it here. That is the next book I'm catching up on, is Invincible, because, let's face it, it's fantastic. And I want to learn all about, Marc's adventures in child rearing, because I am that many issues behind. I'm like 6 or 7 issues behind since before the baby was born. So, there's a lot of blood and gore, as you see on the cover, but there's a lot of family stuff, and it's really well put together. This book, it's kind of. on one hand, it has a feel of 80s Marvel, which I love. And on the other hand, oh, wait, it's my two favorite things together. 80s Marvel and 90s Vertigo. That's what he's done to me. Those are my two favorite things ever. And, and so we got the blood and gore of serious, crazy fights. And then you've got, between these superhumans who can punch each other's guts out or whatever. And then you've got these happy family relationships as well, which we also saw, like I say, in 80s Marvel. So if those things appeal to you, Invincible. And now we're on issue 120.
120.
Time flies. Not as fast as it does in the black and white universe.
Yeah, well.
Because Walking Dead kind of sped up for a while there.
Are you ready to hit your pick number 3?
Pick number 3, S.H.I.E.L.D. number 6, based on the characters found in the hit TV series. Hey, Tesseract, folks, Tesseract. But based on the characters there, we've got Coulson and we've got Agent May and we've got Fitzsimmons and everybody else, but also bringing in other Marvel characters which we love, which we can't see in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like Sue Storm.
Or Stephen Strange, who we will see in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But before that happens, we're seeing him in the pages of S.H.I.E.L.D.
And this issue seems to have a little, you can tell from the cover, we've got a little Dormammu and some, what are those guys, the mindless ones?
And let's not forget, the Howling Commandos.
The Howling Commandos. These are the all-new Howling Commandos, which are more like the Creature Commandos.
Yes, indeed. Mark Waid is the author, and I've been enjoying the S.H.I.E.L.D. series all along up to this point. I'm very happy with the integration of the television and cinematic characters into the comic universe. Definitely, I felt that we've needed to expand on our S.H.I.E.L.D. cast, and the S.H.I.E.L.D. comic is definitely doing that.
I'm loving it. If you're at all a fan of Marvel Cinematic Universe, check this out. And the issue should be fairly easy to get. Do you have all 5 of the previous?
I've got a smattering. It is actually quite popular, and when I have gotten reorders in, they have moved right on out the door again.
Well, better get on it now then.
Yes, indeed. So now I'm going to steal Kevin's thunder just
Please.
a little bit here because he's picked a book that I'm actually anticipating. I know a lot of my readers out there, a lot of my Flashback fans are anticipating this one too. You all know that this month was the dropping of Secret Wars from Marvel. The big event, the culmination of Jonathan Hickman's Avengers stories, the crossover series that affects the entire Marvel universe. And this week, here it is, ladies and gentlemen, Old Man Logan #1. Okay, now people have been asking me, since the death of Wolverine, is Wolverine really dead? Is he going to be coming back? Well, the answers to your question were, yes, he was really dead. And is he back? Well, Old Man Logan certainly is. Is this going to be the Wolverine that we get from now on? Well, to tell the truth, I don't know. I haven't read this yet. It just got here. But you know what?
Oh, my.
The Old Man Logan series was so good. That story was amazing. And now Brian Michael Bendis giving us this Secret Wars tie-in. So it's going to be good.
So who wrote the original Old Man Logan? Wasn't that... was that one guy with the eyes? Anyway, it doesn't matter. See, I've just stumped the Troy here. I'm sorry. I don't mean to do it. You're usually so great with everything that I just once in a while will stump you. This is a fantastic book. I love the use of art to tell the story. I don't recognize Sorrentino, but I will from now on. I really am enjoying this. We've got a bunch of characters in this. Not only from the original Old Man Logan series, but also some Daredevil folks. We've got Gladiator, and we've got some Daredevils.
Well, you knew that Brian Michael Bendis was going to find a way to involve Daredevil because Daredevil is a character that Brian Michael Bendis has a fascination with.
Definitely.
And has written some very, very good Daredevil series.
And another character that Brian Michael Bendis is very into, of course, is Jessica Jones. And Wolverine is partnered up at the very least with Luke and Jessica's baby Cage.
Oh yeah. Oh geez.
I don't remember her name because she's a baby in the
Danielle.
comics. Danielle, exactly.
Danielle. Yes, they named her for Daniel.
Danny Rand.
Iron Fist.
Yeah.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen.
Nice.
Iron Fist.
Yeah. So this is good. It involves the Hulks. If you remember Old Man Logan, you remember the Hulks. It has at least some Hulks. Now, here's the thing. For those of you who have not yet started the Secret Wars series, I'm not exactly sure where each of them is going. I have a feeling that they're going to be similar to the DC Convergence, where you've got a couple of issues of a series, and then, bam, we're going to go back into whatever the new universe is. In Marvel's case, it's going to be new numbering, yeah?
Well, at the very least, what you've got is, in the course of the main series, we have seen that the multiverse has come to a conclusion. Dr. Doom, at the end of all things, has put together a battle world, and that battle world is composed of pieces of the old universes. So 2099, Old Man Logan, Future Imperfect, Inferno, X-Men 92, and on and on. And each one of these domains has a Baron that Dr. Doom has appointed, and he holds court. These barons come before him. His word is law. He is the god of all things, and these lords of their domains report to Doom.
And it's important to note, Troy, that that characters in these different domains, analogs of these appear in the different versions. So while we're seeing Old Man Logan version of Wolverine in Old Man Logan, we're also seeing different versions of Wolverine. Like we saw, spoilers if you haven't watched, if you haven't read last week, but we had a version of Logan, of Wolverine, killed in one of the issues that came out last week. Now, we've got 7 issues last week. We've got 7 issues this week as well, and I'm getting all of them. And honestly, while some of the paired stories, where these comics where you've got 2 stories per issue,
yeah,
sometimes you'll have a great one and a letdown. In my opinion, anyway. Every one of these comics has got a good story, and some of them, like I say, were not for me. For example, this week, the Inhumans one wasn't for me. I think people who are really into Inhumans are actually going to like this. People who are caught up on Inhuman and Inhumans,
like me,
like Troy, will probably be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm way into that character," and this gives me some insight as to that character's mind. Each of these seems to be reaching toward some sort of battle. I mean, it is called Battle World after all. It seems like eventually there will be a tipping point, and these different realms will rise up against Doom and his Thors.
Well, let's see how that unfolds. Again, it's very, very early in the series, so a lot of speculation there. Which will,
well, I mean, that's what's got to happen, because otherwise, then we just live in this. Here's Marvel forever. No,
or Dr. Doom will,
give up,
come up short as he has in the past. This is not the first time that Doom has set himself up to be ruler of something successfully. Mm-hmm. So let's wait and see where that goes.
It's going to go somewhere to where we have a more recognizable Marvel universe, I expect. That's my expectations, not based on any sort of information other than, hey, I understand how comic books work.
But between then and now, we have the borders between these lands. There are laws against crossing those borders, and Dr. Doom enforces those with his core of Thors.
And we get to revisit all these wonderful alternate realities.
Yes, indeed.
And like the old Man Logan. Some of them are not quite identifiable, I've noticed, where you've got a story and you're like, I'm not exactly sure where this is supposed to be, but I'm having a good time in this land. One of those is my 5th, M.O.D.O.K Assassin #1. Now, this is, if you enjoy Deadpool, you will like this. It is, I'm not usually the guy who buys silly comics. This is stupid funny through the whole thing. I was cracking up. I was sitting in the other store, in the game store next door, cracking up at this the entire time, where M.O.D.O.K is just like, I'm the killer, I'm the boss of everything, and I'm going to kill this guy, and I'm going to kill this guy, and he's successful. It's a very Deadpoolish thing, only instead of Deadpool or Elektra Assassin, as you might notice from the logo fonts, you've instead got a M.O.D.O.K, a mental organism designed only for killing. And boy, is he into himself and the killing. And we've got some pop-up characters. I need to read one part. We're showing stuff.
Yeah.
This is funny. Oh my God. He's saying where his land is in comparison with other lands, and this is just a short quote here. To the south, a city drowning in temporal stupidity, despite their inability to use calendars. The future cattle of 2099 know better to infringe on my territory. It's just funny the whole way. And we've got at least one X-Man showing up, and we've got some Sentinels showing up, and it's hilarious the whole way. I definitely recommend this to anybody with a sense of humor. Christopher Yost. I started with a C. Christopher Yost as the writer, and some a penciler and inker that I have not heard of, Amilcar Pinna, and. Terry Polo, rounding out the inking job there. Good job, folks. I like that. That was fun. That was a nice way to end up my 7th out of 7 because I read all of these already and they're so good. You should get them all.
Well, yeah.
Oh,
what he said.
Also coming out this week, just honorable mentions. Infinity Gauntlet #1. Why don't you hold that up for me, Troy?
Okie doke.
Also, hey, 80s Marvel fans. Inferno is back. There's something that we miss. Inferno #1. It's kind of a 10 story. I love that one. And of course we've got 2099. We've got, as I said before, Inhumans Attilan Rising #1, and we've got the Secret Wars Journal, Battle World Secret Wars Journal, and you can get it in that cover or that cover. And of course, I love the toy covers, and I got to have all the toys. Anyway, there's a lot to be had this week.
Yes, indeed. Certainly those things. Let's not forget that Convergence is chugging right along. The 8th and final issue of that 8-issue series is out this week with the #2s that will grace it as well. Look for DC to be dropping into the Divergence event next month. Also look for the continuation of the Darkseid War in the pages of Justice League. Look for the continuation of Batman and Batman 41. Wonder Woman 41, still written and drawn by the Finch family, and so on. There's a lot of great stuff there. There will be more great things from Image, Dark Horse, IDW, Boom, Kaboom, and it just goes on and on. Comics everywhere. Thank God I work in a comic book store. Otherwise, I don't know what I'd do with myself.
Well, I'm glad that you do as well, Troy. Hey, so Troy, in part 2, we have to look forward to. Last week we had, not only are we going to talk about Game of Thrones as we always do each week.
We can't this week.
What?
Because I didn't get to see it.
We're spoiling Troy on Game of Thrones this week. And we had the season finales. You better been caught up on Flash.
I'm not.
Troy.
Well, that's why I was saying
and the season finale of Supernatural,
which I don't normally watch, so you could spoil that
season 10. And you know who's coming back? Kayla's coming back this week. Kayla's coming back. Look, Kayla's back. Say
Hello.
Hi. She'll be back in part 2 to talk about Supernatural, and she is a serious Supernatural person, so you got that going on. Still love Sam?
Oh, God bless, yes. Forever and always.
So we'll see you in part 2 after we eat.
Yes.
And next week.
From leaping tall buildings to going off like gamma bombs. Switch your internet browser to ComicsOnline.com.